Yeah, my name is Q Kenny. My skin name is Nakamarra, and I'm from Ndaria. Ndaria is Hermannsburg community, and Ndaria was a name that was made by what was created down in the river, not just down from Hermannsburg, and so that was the name Hermannsburg is from. I'm a third-year law student, and I work full-time as an art supervisor. I've lived in Hermannsburg for quite a long time. This is my home, and I don't think I'll ever leave. I've tried living in Melbourne for 2 years. I did that. It didn't work for me at all. So I've now decided just to become a part-time law student. So traveling up and down, it'll give me the chance to get away from home and friends from home, and give me that time to relax and also focus on my studies also. And coming back home from being in Melbourne is such an amazing feeling. It's just coming back to the Red Centre. It's absolutely a feeling that sometimes I can't explain in words. But all I can say is it's always good to be home when you're travelling so far and wide. Especially travelling to other parts of the country in Australia. It's a beautiful place to see other people's country too. But I've never been overseas. I have a passport. There's no stamp yet. There's no stamp there. I haven't been overseas yet. I'm looking forward to go overseas, but don't know when. No, that's not. I just want to go. If there's business, I'd go overseas, but personal stuff, I'd go overseas still. Yeah, I'd love to go overseas for personal and professional stuff. What drives me is seeing the spirit of people talking for the rights of human rights, talking for what we know is best, because sometimes the politicians are so stuck in the Parliament House, they don't know what's happening on the outer world out there. So seeing somebody else, what drives me to become a activist is seeing my friends getting up there and talking. And I spoke to myself and I said, look, this is it. I can become an activist, and anything I want to say is there, freedom of speech, say whatever I want. So I can't become an activist because I want to speak for my people, and not only for my people, for the wider communities, for the non-Indigenous people, for people that are needing rights too. We're all humans. We're not animals to be treated like this. We need to live in a country where it goes both ways. If the non-Indigenous people want us to assimilate into their culture, that's not going to happen. There has been other First Nations people that was assimilated into to non-Indigenous people's ways and culture, and they've lost their own culture. They've lost that, and there are still people that are slowly going back to their homelands, to their families, and slowly to get their language back, get their story, get their dreamtime, their totem, their skin names. And it's really good to see that they get themselves out there to their family, go and look for their dreamtime totems, get their skin name back, because having this here, you can never get this living in Sydney or any other cities in Australia and being assimilated. You won't be able to speak your language. So I'd like to see changes in both ways, where both cultures can come together and share stories with each other, because every race in the world has a culture. No race doesn't have culture. Everyone does have a culture, So for me, being an activist, I want to see a very big change in the government. New laws, change of the constitution, treaty. Even though treaty may not change anything here in Australia, as I know by looking at our brothers and sisters in Canada. they did treaty, still nothing happened. They're still living in the poorest conditions still. So if we just get that treaty will change things. But if it doesn't change things, then it's up to us people to start building this country the way we want it and how we're supposed to do it. Because at the end of the day, the government expects us to do something, to not always rely on government benefits. People need to get out there, look for jobs, go to school, get better education, go to school, get a job, and to live a good life in living like that. Because before the white men came to Australia, this country had its own areas, tribal areas, and people worked hard to keep the land alive. So through that, you had to be educated to do that. So when I have a non-Indigenous person saying, you need to go to school to be educated, and I will say, look, you want me to go to your school to be educated your ways, because I'm already educated in mine. I got a PhD in my school. Indigenous women's rights, we're only limited to speak up, but that's only here. And I've heard of some stories around the world about women's rights as well that are most effective, and others faces consequences for speaking up. So I'd like to see that very big change, like I said earlier, and also a big change in women's rights to speak up for themselves and to speak up for what's happening in their area, in the environment that they live and work in, to speak up to make changes in parliaments throughout the country and the world. Let's abolish people being stoned for speaking. Let's change that, because there's a lot of hypocrites out there that are doing this and yet, still don't get the punishment because there's some kind of a hierarchy people. So I'd like to see changes in that, and hoping, wanting to see changes with us Aboriginal women to have that voice, not only just speak for ourselves, but to speak for men and women and for the younger generations. Because most days elders will tell you to shut up. Shut up. Only the men knows everything. But at the end of the day, they need to understand the women are the one that are there that have been and will always be there to look after them. So all women needs to have that chance of having the right to speak, having the right to get up and talk. Never mind I can get up in public and talk, but when I come back home, it's that time. You don't have much say anymore. But I still make that change here. I managed to do it, and I can see it's gradually working, because I'll get a lot of elders asking me, get up, talk for us. So it's happening, but it's only men and women. Both men and women asking. We have black politicians, but we don't see them often. So they only come out when voting time, elections. So everything goes one way. There's no difference there for me. Everything goes one way. To me, it's just the concept, just the language of it. It just makes that difference. I don't see any difference in being an activist and fighting for rights. It's all the same thing. It's all in the same big circle. I can get up and speak for children's right. I can get up and speak for women's right, men's right. But I have to know what I got to say. I need to study first, and I need to know what I got to say, because I can't just get up and just say whatever I want, because I would not know how the crowd will react. I need to say something very polite, professional, understandable for the rest of the people to know what I'm saying. And I expect myself to protest in a way where people can leave some kind of information in their mind and happiness in their heart to know that, okay, this is what she said, and let's wait and see if there will be any changes to it. Yeah. Yes, it has changed, but going back to the remote communities out west, women still have to ask permission from old men to speak up, to talk, and they'll say yes, but you're only limited. You have a time, how long you can speak for. But that's fine. That's still given the right, that access for women to get up and talk, because you can't. The reason why is because it's for us it's rude just to get up and talk without asking permission from the elders. It's rude. So that's why we're not finding that as like a big barrier for us. It's okay for us to get up, but we need to just have that permission first to get up and talk, because if an elder's there, and because you are disrespecting yourself and the community people if you just not ask permission to get up and talk. There is a big difference there. Back in those days, no Aboriginal people weren't allowed to get up and talk, to speak for their own rights. Nowadays, people are getting up left, right, and centre to get up and talk. So there is a very huge difference, because it takes one person to make that change, and whoever made that change, such as old Eddie Mabo, I've seen him as a big change. But what was quite upsetting for me was that everything was accepted when he passed away, and that happens in most cases throughout this country. But he was a speaker for his people, and then we had other people started speaking up. So it started off from one group, one man, and it turned into a group, and now it's the whole nation getting up and talking for human rights. So now people aren't afraid to get up and talk. So like me, I'm not afraid to get up and talk. If I know there's an issue, and if the community knows about what's going on, and they're needing something to be done, so I organise something, a community meeting, even if it's in Alice Springs, do a rally. So, just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Be honest to yourself. Be truthful to the people that you evolved with, because the world doesn't only evolve around you, it evolves around a lot of people, animals, everything. Learn to respect nature. Learn to respect yourself. If people lie to you, don't take it as if it's your fault, because at the end of the day, you're only human, and we only have short life. We only live short, so we don't live forever. So I believe that we're on Earth for a reason, and my reason, I feel in my heart, is to keep carrying on the work that I'm doing to make a change. Is to become a lawyer. That's one thing I want to become a lawyer, to help my people and to help the rest of the Australian people. That's just my aim, is just to become a lawyer and just make a change within the legal system. So that's why I'm just doing it. So that's about it. That's what I just do. Never back down from negative people. There will always be negative people out there. This world is full of good and bad people. Take your day slowly. Don't rush. Don't rush. Life is hard, but we have to accept it. It has changed a lot with my own sexuality. It helped me to understand myself, to know who I am, and to know what I can do. If it wasn't for my friends that I found out they were doing active, being protesters, I'd like, and thank them for that, and for whatever energy is out there that created us and me. I'm so blessed to be the way that I am, because whatever energy, like I said, whatever energy is there that's there that created us, I do thank that light or that energy, that force. whether people want to call him God or, the Creator. We all have our own beliefs, and we believe in what we believe in, and I believe in what I was taught. And I just stick to my thoughts to myself if it comes to personal. But yeah, when there's issues such as a whole range of things, because such as like protests and stuff, issues happening that are around us, these issues will be around for so long, and you can only protest for what you know is best, what you know is right. But my aim, just as any other Australians wanting change, but people want to see change in different areas of the government section. I want to see change within the First Nations people. People might want to have a change. I don't know how to say it, but let's see a change in the police force or something, but I'd like to see a change with all Australians becoming as one, and I'd like to see the Australian government acknowledge our past Indigenous men that went and fought for Australia in Gallipoli. And I want to see the Australian government to be held responsible for the 50 Indigenous men that were taken to South Africa in the Boer War and denied entry back into Australia. So all those kind of stuff I'd like to see. I've been through a hell of a lot in the community, but that never killed my spirit. People's negativity. I've been spat at, been sworn at, had dirt thrown at me. So, and I'm here, still standing tall and proud and happy. And now I'm helping the people that disrespected me, and that's their big barrier of whether thinking or should I allow her to help me in anything. And I said, look, I forgive you for what you've done. It's okay. You don't have to feel scared. I like being kind to nasty people. I like being kind. But sometimes people say you have to be mean, you have to be cruel to be kind. And I'm not that kind of person. I can never be cruel to be kind. I do it the other way around, be kind to the cruel. It does. It doesn't happen overnight, but they can think about it, and they come back a couple of days later and say, look, hey, I'm sorry for what I said to you in the past, We have brother boys as well, we have sister girls, and we are being accepted now. I believe that this was accepted many years ago, but because colonization took away a lot of things through the Bible. So, yeah.
It's coming around full circle.
It's coming around full circle, yep. Because if God didn't want it, or that force or whatever, if they did not want this to happen, then he would have done something. He would have done something, but he forgives us each and every day when we pray. Like I know I do. I pray a lot, and I get that courage to be, for the person that I am. And when I get up and do protestings, I pray, and just to fight that bad energy. And if I'm speaking in front of 1,000 people, I used to have butterflies, but now it's part of my life. It's like I want to be the first one to hold the microphone. I don't sing, only if I'm intoxicated. I'd grab the microphone. But yeah, no, being accepted, yeah, it's great now. I've got family accepting me for who I am now, and love me, but I always tell, people, it's not about me. This world, you can't always think about me. You got your own life. Go deal with it. It's good to know that you care and love me and want to support me. But I'm old enough now. So yeah.